You guys are in for a major treat today. I don't even think you realize what kind of a treat you're in. I am here with the fabulous Sara Colombo, who's the best person I know of getting the attention of strangers, which in my opinion is the hardest thing to do in sales. I had the pleasure of working with Sara when I was at Jellyvision, and we've remained friends and we connect every once in a while, and she's been so gracious to be on the show. Sara, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So there are a few people that have absolutely no idea like what Jellyvision is. Yeah. So maybe just provide a little context and talk a little bit about Jellyvision and the types of people you serve.
So Jellyvision is a technology company in Chicago, and we sell tools to HR folks. We build and sell tools to HR folks that help communicate complicated topics, whether it's choosing your benefits, contributing to your 401k, or taking a leave of absence. All topics that every HR team has to, absolutely has to communicate, but has a really hard time doing sometimes because they are so complicated and sometimes mundane as well. So the main tool that we sell is Alex, the online benefits counselor that 800 plus companies use to communicate their benefits during open enrollment and all year long, so that employees can make a better decision.
And surprise, surprise, people don't just bang down your door saying, here's money. You have to actually go out and see if you can't get people interested.
Yeah, so very few people bang down our door, to be honest. We have 90% of our meetings set on outbound. So everything, maybe it's I would say it's probably 90%. So 90% of the meetings we set are because we called or emailed a person pretty much out of the blue. And yeah, to your point, a stranger. We interrupted their day and we were able to provide value that was enough for them to say yes to us in that time.
Okay. So Sara, you're one of the best people I know of doing this. And I really want to get into this at a detailed level. Mm-hmm. So the thing I want to talk about is how do you get the attention of a stranger who, as you put it very well, you're interrupting. Yeah. And so you are one of the best people at doing this at Jellyvision. You're one of the top producing business development reps. I'd love you to take us through, your thought process, sort of step by step from the beginning, and just take us through that. And I may have some questions to delve deeper as we go into this, but just take us through, like, I'm starting on day one. I'm Sara Colombo. I have to get these meetings. And, what do I do? Like, how do I start?
Yeah. So I think a lot of the part of what we need to realize too is that these people are super busy. We call some of the largest employers in the country and some of the top people in the HR team. They have people praying for their attention day in and day out. And the other thing you have to realize is we are just a commercial in their day. When they hang up the phone, they've already forgotten. They have. So though we may weigh on that call for an hour and talk through it and record it and listen to it, they forgot about us before they even hung up. So it is not sending people to the moon. It is not brain surgery. Though it feels like that in the moment, it is just a commercial. And think about how many commercials we see every day. We actually just fast forward them. So it's such a minute detail, but it's important to take it seriously in that moment. So that's kind of how I think of it, is that it is a very small piece of your day. It's one call to you, one call to them. The second thing I try to remember is that they're human beings. A lot of times they answer because they think you're their aunt calling or their car's ready to be picked up at Midas, right? Everyone has the same issues every single day. So a lot of times we catch people and they're like, hello? And it's because they're expecting something else. So they're human beings, and it's important to react to them as human beings as well, to not sound like a robot, to not sound like a call center, to sound just as human as they are, and to be the most delightful commercial they hear every day. So that's just kind of high level how you should approach it.
So this is like your mindset going into the call. It's like, hey, I'm not curing cancer here. No. I'm going in with a message. And then two, I don't want to sound like I'm a robot. I want to sound like I'm a human being. So this is the mindset you get into before you even start to get tactical.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, so you get into this mindset. And now what's the next thing you do?
Well, you think about what the purpose of the call is. Is the only purpose to set a meeting? Josh? No, it's not the purpose. The purpose
because many people would say that is the purpose.
You taught me different. So the purpose of the call is to qualify this individual. Do they have influence? Do they have this pain, right? And can we even help them? Because sometimes the answer is no, and that's okay. It's okay to bail. It's okay to gracefully bow out and to send some free information to people who maybe aren't as qualified as we're looking for. Because the goal as a BDR is not just to set meetings. The goal is to set qualified meetings and bring in dollar bills. So that's the first step. So realizing that it's not life or death, and then going into it with the first step to qualify this prospect and the company as well to make sure it's worth the time to set up.
So I love what you're saying there, because I think, and we've spoken about this before, it kind of takes the pressure off both sides, because when you come in with the intent to set the meeting, you bring this sales pressure energy to the call, and you feel it as a BDR, and the prospect feels it on the other end. So I think the approach that you're talking about is, hey, I don't know if we're a fit. I think we might be able to help you. Let's see if you want to continue the conversation or not. And either way, we're good.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're coming at this from like you're kind of detaching a little bit.
You're coming into the call more as a consultant than a salesperson. You're assessing the situation. What's going on in their world? This is what we have in our world. Are we even at a place where we're ready to work together? And you can't always tell on the first call, which is okay. But a lot of times you can tell right away if it's not a fit, and that's when it's okay to kind of shake hands and go the other way.
So talk to me about how you prep. You're building a list of people. Like, what do you do to prep and get ready for the call?
Sure. So we build our lists basically based on title. We try to call manager, hire, manager, director, VP of benefits, human resources, total rewards. And we try to contact at least 2 people per company. The manager and someone below, and maybe manager, someone below, maybe it's director and hire, whatever the case may be, at least 2 contacts per account. And then, going into it with a reason for your call. Not just calling to call because they have the right title, going into it because you know they may have this pain that you can fix. Whether it be a challenge with communications because they have multiple locations, a challenge with decision support because they offer multiple health plans. They had just had a merger, so they brought on 1,000 people. How are they going to communicate to them? So doing your research beforehand to know why you're calling.
How do you do that? How do you do that without getting so many reps that I talk to, they do that and they could spend like 5 hours. We were talking about this before the call started. So what's your approach? And then I know you're teaching this as well to your team, but I think you're saying, hey, I have to have a reason. I have to be relevant. This isn't about personalization. This is about what's in it from, how is this relevant? Talk me through your process of how you do that in, I guess, a way that doesn't suck up your whole day, because you could spend 15 hours doing research.
And I absolutely teach reps to stop. If you're down a weird rabbit hole and you're like looking into an RFP from 1998 when this lady who doesn't even work there anymore was signing, which I know you do.
I have done that.
I'm like, close all the tabs, start over. None of this is relevant. So I teach, and I learned this from you, find 3 facts and don't spend more than 3 minutes on each account. If you spend more than 3 minutes on each account, you're going to end up down these rabbit holes, and you just don't have that kind of time if you're doing 60 to 100 dials a day. And
do you put this in the list when you organize this? You're grabbing their names, email addresses, phone numbers. We could talk about that, but then you're creating a column in the list or in the spreadsheet or the CRM of where this information goes? Yeah, we have a custom field that we call 3x3, or you can call it prospecting notes or pre-call research, whatever the case may be. And it's pretty much, there are a finite number of things you can put in there, right? Do they have multiple locations? Do they offer multiple plans? Did this person work at a previous customer? Did we speak to them before? And then what is the value? So just finding those 3 things that you can put in there. And sometimes it's the same for 10 people that you research in a row, and that's okay. There's a finite number of reasons why people buy Alex. Therefore, there's a finite number of value props and reasons for our call. So you're finding these triggers. Mm-hmm. And then you're finding names and email addresses. Are you guys using a data.com or something to find email addresses? Or we have in the past. We've scrubbed the internet for a lot of things. We've had a lot of garbage that we've had to clean up. The best tool we use is LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Could not do my job without it. Could not do my playbook without it.
LinkedIn Sales Navigator or any premium LinkedIn. I think we could just do premium. And then we have, no, we're not using data.com anymore. We're not using Inside View. Yeah.
For like phone numbers, how do you get the phone numbers is a challenge for a lot of people.
Yeah. And I wish I had the answer. We use a lot of different methods for getting direct dials. We start with a corporate number first and foremost and ask for extensions. You act a little bit lost.
Yes.
Hey, Josh, I think I'm in the wrong place. I am looking for Sara in business development. Would you have a better number for me? And just going in with a human tone and going in with a question. And also email signatures. So a lot of emails are typically easier, right? First dot last, first initial last name. We have a lot of people in our database. So we can usually match them. And there's a million email checkers online that are free. Okay. And then, so starting with an email, getting out of office, finding the direct dial there.
Stealth. Tricky, yes.
Finding one person's extension, and a lot of times scrambling the extension and getting someone else. So there's little tricks
of the trade. Okay, so now I've done some research. I have the types of people I want to call. I have my list of, 40 or 50 people. And I think you're stressing the importance of have this list prepped in advance to go 100%. Because if you don't do that, people are all over the place.
Your call block is sacred. All you should be doing is dialing. You should do 30 at a time. It's hard to do more than that. You do get burnt out. 30 at a time and take a break. And all 30 have the person, their title, the company, and then your prospecting notes, pre-call research 3x3. And if those fields aren't filled in, we don't let people start dialing.
Love that. So the prep and the list is key in terms of efficiency. Okay, sir. So let's take us through you. So now this is going to be some of the best part of this call. So you're one of the best people I know on the phone.
Thanks, Josh.
So now I have this list, and now I pick up the phone. Like you say, most of the time, you're not going to get somebody, but let's say you do get someone on the phone. Let's say somebody picks up, that is the person that's on your list. I'd love to walk through your approach for how, in a very Sara human way, you start to suss out if there's a, mutual interest.
Yeah. Is this cold, or have you heard of us before? Or
let's say it's cold.
Okay.
Can we go down let's go down the cold path.
All right, let's say you work for a food company. Because I have it. ABC Foods.
ABC Foods. Perfect.
All right, you want me to call you?
Oh, we're going to do this thing. Oh, perfect. Oh. I love it. See, look at Sara. Let's not talk about it. Let's role play it. Sara, awesome. Okay, I'm going to be
I don't know any other way. You want me to like...
No, this is good. So I'll be the prospect. Perfect. So I'm going to be Josh from ABC Foods.
All right.
Okay, now I'm going to pick up the phone.
You're director of benefits?
I'm director of benefits for ABC Foods, and I'm going to pick up the phone.
All right.
And you tell me when you're ready. Are you ready to go?
I'm as ready as I will be. Okay.
Sara's only done this 7,000 times. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Hi, this is Josh.
Hi, Josh. This is Sara calling from Jellyvision. How are you today?
Good, Sara. What can I do for you?
Awesome. I am reaching out today. I noticed you are the director of benefits over there at ABC Foods. Do I have that right?
Guilty as charged. It's like you are stealthing me.
Yes, that's part of my job over here. It's the fun part, actually. So again, I'm calling from Jellyvision, and we are the makers of Alex. Does any of that sound familiar to you?
I've sort of heard about it, but I'm not exactly sure, but it sounds somewhat familiar.
Yeah, for sure. Well, while I have you here, I'm going to give you a quick 16-second commercial, and we can see if it makes sense to move on here. But we work with similar organizations, Josh, like McDonald's and US Foods, to better communicate benefits and help employees choose the best value plan. Now, I know I'm catching you in the middle of the day, but does this sound like something you'd be open to learning a little bit more about?
It does, but you caught me at a really bad time right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Every time's kind of a bad time. I get that. My goal today is not to grab any more of your time. I'd actually set you up with one of our product experts who can walk you through that and see if you guys are a fit for what we have over here. Do you have time next Tuesday, maybe in for 30 minutes?
And scene. And that is thank you. That was good. So a couple of things you did really well there. One of the things I want you to talk a little bit about is you can't script everything. Like, notice I kind of threw you for a loop there and I said, you're kind of stealthing me. And I'm sure you kind of get those reactions. You mentioned before, like you're sensing someone maybe is waiting for another call. And so much of this is ad-libbing, I guess.
I know. And people say, do you have a script? Do you have a script? Do you have a script? I'm like, I'll give you all the scripts you want, but ultimately it comes down to listening and being comfortable and being human and having a conversation, not reading off the paper.
Now talk to me, Sara, about the words are one thing, but talk to me about tonality. I mean, one of the things I noticed during this role play, and I was trying to close my eyes because I didn't, just kind of sense it, but you had a tone that was not rushed, and I didn't feel like I was being sold.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the importance of tonality on a call, and how do you even, be cognizant of that and get better at that?
Sure. I actually have been teaching reps to talk so slow that they feel like it's weird. And let me explain that a little bit further. So if I call you and I come in like cheerleader Sara, bombarding you, hi Josh, this is Sara from Jellyvision. I'm calling about Alex. I know you work at US Foods and we work with McDonald's. It's like, how many nouns is this girl going to say? I haven't said a single word. So it's like, stop. Hi Josh, this is Sara from Jellyvision. And it sounds a little weird to yourself, but they're like, hi Josh, oh, she's talking to me. This is Sara. Oh, this is not my Aunt Betty from Jellyvision. Oh, this is kind of a sales call. But by the time I've said that stuff, they've actually processed it so that I can go into the value, go into the reason for my call.
So it's almost like you have to slow down more than you would think you'd have to slow down.
Yep. And I listen to myself sometimes and I cringe, especially from when I first started compared to now. And it just sounds so much better listening to something that's slowed down compared to something that's too anxious.
You're saying something else right now that I think is really key. You listen to your recordings.
I have.
How much of that, and when you coach, how much of that is like, helps people get better?
Yeah. We're having a hard time finding the right vendor for call recording over here. I will admit that. But when we have listened to recorded calls, it is so helpful. And people don't realize what they say. And we've done role plays before, and I'm like, why are you saying,
And it's not that they're not cognizant of it.
And so then, playing it back, and people are like, oh my gosh. So role playing, even if you can't record the calls because you don't have the vendor, or you don't have the clearance or whatever the case may be, doing role plays and just recording it on your phone and being like, let's play that back is super helpful.
Excellent.
It's definitely awkward. No one likes it. But in the end, they're like, I didn't even realize I was doing that. And people say, to fill the silence. Just let the silence be. So it can be challenging at first, but I do think recording calls is really helpful.
Okay, now I want to switch a little bit from BDR Sara to Sara now that is managing BDR teams. I would think from what I read, and you know this, the role has a lot of turnover historically, maybe not at Jellyvision, but how do you keep people motivated? What sorts of things do you do as a leader to keep people going on a daily basis?
Man, it is tough. But I think being consistent is number one. And showing the team that you're watching the things that you're asking them to do. So our metrics are 60 dials a day, 20 emails a day, contacts added, one meeting a week, or one meeting a day, 5 a week. And so, I bring up the numbers any opportunity I can. For this many dials as a team, this is our conversion, this is our connect, and I give spiffs for people who've exceeded. We call out people for good meetings. I have a manager on the floor. He'll do like push-ups when people do something cool, just like little things like that. Or I'll say first person to 6 meetings gets this, or the first team to this gets to leave at noon, whatever the case may be. I also try to have competitive comp plans, which I know is sometimes challenging, but keeping your BDR team happy, I think our organization is realizing is super, super important. And I know it comes from me. And I think I have to stay motivated too, right? And I have to stay positive and be helpful. I think I'm on the floor every day. I still make calls. I still do one-on-ones. I do all the 30, 90 yearly reviews.
What are the one-on-ones like? What is that? What is, when you have a one-on-one with a BDR? I think it's fantastic, by the way, this idea that let's measure and let's hold people accountable for what it is. Let's have the goal very clearly stated and let's measure that regularly, but then you're also having one-on-ones, I would imagine, to coach, which is the second part of this equation. You're not just saying, hey, you missed your number, go do better. You're kind of going in there. And what goes on in a one-on-one? Let's say you're having a one-on-one with me, and maybe I wasn't, hitting my numbers, or maybe I was struggling a little bit.
Yeah. So the first thing I do in these one-on-ones is go over the numbers from the week and the month. It's the middle of the month. Where are you at this week? Where are you at for this month? Okay, you're pacing or you're not. Let's talk about why. And then come up with some tangible to-dos, like adding more contacts, or working on your 3x3s, or popcorn pitching with a peer once a week. Whatever the to-do.
Popcorn pitching?
Yeah. Like,
what is that?
Like what we just did.
Got it.
Like, okay, let's pick someone in Salesforce. When she answers, what are you going to say?
Got it.
So role playing. I don't know where the popcorn pitching.
I like it. It's catchy.
I don't know. It's like back and forth pitching. And then the rest of the second half of the one-on-one is usually spent in their account list prospecting for new people. So I'll find them for them. I'll be in Sales Navigator. I'll try to find plan documents for them to add to their research. Yeah. So I usually
You get in there. You get in there.
Oh yeah. I think it's the hardest part of the job is the prospecting. I don't think the phone stuff is challenging, but the hardest part is the research and the building the good list.
The prep.
Mm-hmm. And so half of the time is spent prep.
Totally get it. Mm-hmm. Now let's talk about, we have a limited time left. Let's talk about onboarding. So now I'm a new BDR and I'm coming into Jellyvision. You have all this knowledge and you have all these practices that are working, I know, at Jellyvision. How do I get you, a new BDR, to productivity in a quick, efficient way without burning them out? Lesson that I learned when I was doing it was I struggled with that at the beginning. It's like, people were like, dude, whoa, like slow down. It took me a long time to sort of figure that out a little bit. So talk to me a little bit about onboarding and what you do as a new rep comes into the organization.
Yeah, I think leaning on your veteran reps is really important. I'm lucky to have people who've worked with me and for me for over a year. They do a lot of the training. It's a little less harsh. It's not coming from the director or they're the person who's responsible for hiring and firing them. It's coming from someone who's on the floor with them on the phone every day. So I think that's a really good thing to do, having team leads, senior BDRs, and trainers on your team. The other thing is, again, being consistent and making it simple. These are your KPIs. This is how you're going to get there. Knowing that it's not going to happen overnight. Because some people pick up faster than others. It depends on where they're at in their life. Right? A new grad ramps slower than someone with 2 to 3 years of related or unrelated work experience. It's just kind of the way it is. And yeah, being patient, being kind, and being helpful, and making sure you're providing them what they need, not just what everyone needs, because every single person is different.
Now, are these managers following some type of a curriculum that they have to go through, or what is that like? Yeah,
we've established a playbook that I've basically been working on for a year. And yeah, we go in order. What is human resources? What is a meeting? How do I put on my headset? Because people don't know this stuff. So we start very, very basic and work to very, very complex as the training goes on. And it is pretty much 10 work days off the phone, 8. And then the first 2 weeks on the phone is a lot of hand holding. But then it's like 5 free. If they have it, we're next to them and we do call blocks and prospecting blocks with them. But they're responsible for their own book of business. And then we'll meet together once or twice a week after that.
So 10 days after they're calling.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay.
You cannot learn. You can practice as much as you want, but until you go through a phone tree and talk to a mean gatekeeper, like you can't, there's so much more that goes into it than the person on the other end answering. That's the right person.
What goes on with objections? I would imagine everything that happens after you deliver that, as you put it, the commercial, is an objection. How do you teach people and coach around that?
So totally different conversation, because we basically talked about like how to get attention. Everything after that is harder. So the basic, like I have a little slide here. The basic format of a cold call is your opening and your intro, which you and I did. Pitching with value, which you and I did. Listen, handle objections, rinse and repeat, right? They say something, you handle it, you listen, you handle it again, you listen, you handle it again. And it's not a rebuttal, right? That's not the term we use. It's handling the objection and doubling down on the value.
So like if someone were to say to you, I'm sure one of the ones you hear all the time is, can you send me some information? Maybe is one of the ones that you hear. When you say handle it, what does that mean? Like, what does that mean? Like if I said to you, not to put you on the spot, but hey, can you send me some information? What might you say in a situation like that?
So the first thing to do for each objection is to acknowledge it or provide empathy, right? I would love to send you information. I have more information than anyone needs on this topic. And I ask you a few questions to make sure to send you the most relevant information. And then you are still talking, and then they answer the question. You know what? It sounds like blah, blah, blah. We can really help you. Still would love to send you some information, acknowledging it. But the best way to see what we do is to set up a call.
So I love that for one reason. One is a lot of times, I don't know if you disagree, Sarah, when someone asks for information, you don't know if they really want it or it's like a smoke screen because I want to get off the call. And if they're not able to articulate, then you kind of know you don't have to waste your time with them. But if they're able to lean forward and they're starting to engage, it means there's some more level of interest. So I think that's a really smart technique and I love the way you said that at the beginning, because again, it gets back to what you said at the beginning of the call, which is being human. I got more information than you could ever, like that to me is like, that sounds like a person, like someone would say that.
Yeah. Well, it's like, is that what you want? You want me to, fine. We can do that all day. I'll go, I got a million emails for you. But ultimately, if this is something that you're interested in, right? Your job is to gauge the interest. The best way to see what we do is up close and personal on a demo call.
Excellent.
And every objection is handled a little bit differently. And so that to me is the hardest part.
Like if someone says, I don't have budget, which I guess is another huge one that you get.
Yeah, definitely understand that, Josh. If only the HR team had as much money as the sales team. Am I right?
See, what's really great about that, again, and you haven't spoken about this, Sarah, but you do it like inherently, it's you're using humor.
Yeah.
You're kind of taking a shot at it, and sometimes maybe it goes over and sometimes it doesn't. It makes your job better. And if you can get someone to chuckle, I would imagine that goes a long way toward diffusing.
And I mean, we hear crickets all the time. We'll like mute the phone and be like, she did not think that was funny. And like you go back right into it. And some people do, and it's fine. We are fortunate to work for a company where humor is encouraged. I know it's a little different if you're working at kind of a more buttoned up place, but I think it's still okay to be light and to be funny and to be helpful no matter where you work.
It's kind of like a comedian working a club. Not every joke is going to go over. You got to work the clubs and refine your material. Right. And what a better way to have a good time at work.
Yeah, exactly. So we try. We have a couple of little jokes that we use. But yeah, sometimes you hear crickets and that's okay. We just do it all over again.
Sarah, did I miss anything? Did I miss anything that I should have asked you?
I don't think so. I think next time you like bring in a speaker talking about leading with value and not product. There are times when we encourage our reps to take the word Alex, which is our product, out of their pitch completely because it's just too complicated. It's like, who is the Sara girl calling me from Jellyvision? Is her name Alex? I don't know. It doesn't matter what the product is called. What matters is what we can do for them. So that's where we really, really try to lean in, is getting a really, really solid value prop, which is the reason for your call. I think that's an important piece to teach your reps, is to pitch the value, what Alex can do, not what the product is.
The fireball.
Your next podcast.
Sara, where can people find more information about this product if they're interested in it?
Wow. Yeah. So visit, I wouldn't go to jellyvision.com because talk about a rabbit hole. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff going down there, but there's some fun stuff. The best place to learn about the product we sell and the value we can provide is at www.meetalex.com. And you can fill out a contact us form if you need something, and it'll get to me if you need something. Otherwise, I'm just askcolombo@jellyvision.com if you want to talk any further or do some popcorn pitching.
Awesome. Sara, you have been amazing. I knew you would be. Thank you so much for being so generous with your time.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear this. I'm just going to cringe at the sound of my own voice, but it's fine. I'm used to it.